Today on Walk Through Texas History, we're at another cemetery, but this one's a little different. It houses another cemetery inside of it. Join me as we tour that old historic cemetery. The cemetery I'm at right now is the Carmen Nelson Bostick Cemetery in Tomball, Texas. Just on the other side of those trees, at the edge of the camera, is actually an older historic cemetery. That's what we're going to go look at right now and take a look at that older historic cemetery within this new cemetery. Here's actually the namesake of the cemetery that we're in. You can see that her family's behind her. I imagine that this family has been here for a long time in this area. I'm going to look just to the left of her is actually the old part of the cemetery, and we'll go take a look at that right now. Well, here is that wonderful cemetery inside the other cemetery. This is the Palo Cemetery. Kind of pronounce it like pillow, but it's Pillot. They're French. Don't pronounce it Pilot because you'd be wrong. There's a nice historical marker there, and there's about 70 people buried inside the fence is here. Maybe a little bit more than that, just on the outskirts. But this was the original cemetery, and since it's been used more recently towards other extended family, it's got a wonderful fence around it. Most of it's still intact. The fence posts are just absolutely gorgeous. We'll get a little closer look to those. And the huge headstone in the middle that you see right there, we'll take a better look at it. And the historical marker right in front of us. Let's go there now. So here's that historical marker. The Pillot family, Claude and his wife, Jean, settled this area in 1837. They came to Texas. They came to the United States in 1832. And the first known burial was their son, August, in 1844. You can read the marker there, but basically this place was untended to until 1959. And that big old headstone right behind you was made in France and shipped here. It is absolutely one of the most gorgeous headstones I've ever seen. And it's the biggest I'd seen, except for the large cemeteries in Houston and Dallas. Here in the area. I'll get a closer look at it here in just a second. You can kind of see it over the shoulder of that historical marker there. But first I did want to show you that this is the old original gate to the cemetery. It's got a lion's head right there at the front. Look at the fence posts there. All the detail that's involved in that. I mean, that is a lot of detail. There is two obviously at the gate, and there's one on each corner that are still here. Those things are, you're probably looking at 170 years they've been here for that long. Maybe a little bit later than that, but still very gorgeous. The first headstones we come to are the Sellers family. This is a Woodsman of the World headstone to the right, the later headstone they had. The Sellers and the Robinson family, looks like. And right behind it is another Sellers. And to the left right here is another Sellers, J. Clemille Sellers Jr. We'll take a look right behind here. Now here is Charles August Pillot. Was a baby, and looks like it was only a week old when he died. And right beside August is August Pillot, the very first burial here in the cemetery. There's his headstone that's been newer placed here. He was 21 years old, 1823 to September 25th, 1844. And there's his final resting spot. Just to the left of him is the other extended family. And as with most families here in Texas, a lot of death of infants and younger children. There's Lucien and Lucine Pillot. They were babies when they passed away. To the left is another one. Zelo died Pillot. And then looks like Gabriel Pillot as well. Now there's more cellars. There's the first cellars I showed you. Right beside is Mary Agnes Sellers and Joseph Eugene Sellers. And then Celeste Pillot, another 3-year-old. And then next to him is Joseph Eugene Pillot. Several more Pillots. There is Jean Pillot, the wife of the cemetery namesake. Her husband, like I said, was buried in New Orleans, so he's not buried here. Zeolide Adele Sellers. There's quite a few Sellers here. The daughter of the Pillots married a Sellers. Winfield Robert Sellers. Camille Pillot. And Willie Zeolide Roberts. And here is Julia Pillot Sellers and her husband J.C. Sellers. Their headstones right there. Here's that massive headstone for the Pillots. Joseph and Zeolide Pillot. I have a hard time saying that word, that name. That is just an absolutely huge headstone. I always remember this cemetery because of that. Father and mother. This is J.E.P. and Z.P. Those are for the Pillots, and their names are right above. Let's see if we can get a better look here. The big headstone. Joseph Eugene Pillot, born in Traves of Travis, France, February of 1820, died in Houston in 1896. Here's his wife, Zeolide, born in Lafayette, Louisiana, 1827, died in 1908. Here's the rest of the cemetery. A lot of the older graves right here close by. And it's still in use today. There's quite a few people buried here. The namesake of the cemetery now, the Carmen Nelson Bostick, she's buried just over there. She died about 20 years ago. But it's a rather large cemetery. And you come back around, and here's the original cemetery, the namesake of it, of the original section. I wanted to show you this old historic cemetery. The French connection here. That's we've been to another cemetery, the Bonnin Family Cemetery. They've got French ancestry here. And this is another one, the Pillot family. This is their first section, original section of the plot of the cemetery and the original namesake of the cemetery. Hope you enjoyed the short tour and a little more French history here in Texas. And until next time, be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Facebook. I really do appreciate all the support. And have a good one, folks.